Green tea roommates showed off jewelry all over the table in the dormitory. I came closer and took a look at. Isn't this the necklace I designed for myself? Isn't this my parents' wedding gift? I looked at green tea again. She is still wearing my pajamas. The green tea roommate proudly showed off his school director's father. I turned my head suddenly. Her father is a school director, so who is my father? Picking big dung? 1. I am the daughter of the chairman of the school enterprise. The whole school, including all sub-campuses, was built by my father's investment. She is a real rich family. My parents have protected me very well since I was a child. I have never been wronged in my short 18 years of life. It is no exaggerate to say that I grew up in a honey jar. But it is also because of my parents' excessive protection that I have never had the opportunity to experience a real and ordinary campus life. My classmates were so scared of my family's heroic work that they stayed away from me, for fear that one of them would accidentally provoke me, a rich lady, and bring disaster to herself. In order to experience an ordinary college life before the end of campus life, my parents and I proposed to live in the school and hide the identity of their daughter at school. But what I didn't expect was that I experienced how wonderful the college life of ordinary people was in just 2 weeks. 2. There are 3 people in our dormitory. The girl who lives in my bed is called Chanchan, and she is a perfect green tea. On the first day of school, Chanchan put a brand name bag on everyone's desk in our dormitory. I hope we can get along happily in these 4 years. This is a welcome gift. She blinked her eyes and said. Another roommate, Tao Tao, looked at the bag in his hand and was so shocked that his jaw was about to fall to the floor. But I smelled the pungent inferior dye on the bag from afar. Shit, damn, I'm right. This is the new handbag. I've only seen it in magazines. Well, I asked my father to bring it from abroad on special. Chanchan bit her lower lip, as if she was a little embarrassed. How funny is this? It's too expensive. In fact, these are nothing to me. Just take them. She blinked at Tao Tao playfully. Like a dream. I have never touched such an expensive bag. Tao Tao looked at me and I nodded quickly. Ah, yes, I've never seen it either. Pinch me quickly. I'm not dreaming, am I? Tao Tao hugged me excitedly. I was jumped by her sudden movement, and then carefully reached out and hugged her. Would you like to politely remind Chanchan that she bought a fake? I looked at Chanchan, but was surprised to find that she rolled her eyes at us. Then I heard Chanchan's whisper again. Cut, a bunch of local buns. 3. I was shocked. I looked at Tao Tao. She was looking left and right with her bag in her arms, and she was very satisfied. I didn't notice Chanchan's unfriendly behavior at all. Seeing my gaze, Chanchan smiled at me with a guilty smile. Haha, what's the matter, Gigi? Wow, Sichuan opera has changed its face. I stared wide-eyed and pretended to ask her simply. Chanchan, I just saw that the whites of your eyes almost turned to the sky. Are you too tired? 4. Chanchan's face suddenly turned blue and white. Only then did Tao Tao get away from the joy of receiving the bag and hurried to follow me. Oh my god, it's so serious. It must be that Chanchan is weak and too tired to pack her luggage. Chanchan, sit down and have a rest. With that, Tao Tao hugged Chanchan to her seat. Are you too tired to pack your luggage? Do you want to be so outrageous? I didn't follow him and sat in my seat silently. You smell so good. Chanchan, what kind of perfume are you using? Can you try it for me? Just. Well, it's okay of course, ahaha. Chanchan took the perfume with an awkward smile and glanced at me who was packing up alone in the seat. Wow, Chanchan, your hair card is beautiful. It must be very expensive. Let me see. Tao Tao said and picked up the hairpin on Chanchan's table. No, don't touch this. Chanchan's voice suddenly became extremely sharp, and she frowned and snatched the hairpin. 5. I turned my head curiously, and my eyes were attracted by the shiny hairpin in Chanchan's hand. This is actually exactly the same as the hair ornament I wore at the bar mitzvah. This hair ornament is quite niche and the chance of hitting the style is very small. I was a little surprised and kept an eye on it. I lowered the message and asked my maid Wu's mother to help me find the hair card at home. Wu's mother has been taking care of my daily life and is quite responsible for her work. Usually she replies in seconds when I send messages, but today she doesn't reply for a long time. I couldn't ask for proof in time, so I put down my mobile phone and felt a little lost. On this side, Chanchan returned to her senses and held Tao Tao's hand to apologize. Sorry, this hair card is very important to me. It's a gift from my mother at the bar mitzvah ceremony. I just got out of control. Well, it's okay. It's my fault for such an important thing, haha. Tao Tao laughed and laughed. The two continued to talk passionately until the evening. I pulled up the bed curtain and lay in bed excitedly and couldn't sleep. Because just now, I also heard Chanchan proudly say to Tao Tao that her father is the school director. No, I'm just wondering. There is only one school director. Her father is the school director. So who is my father? Do you pick big dung? And I absolutely believe in the relationship between my parents. Chanchan doesn't look like my father's genes at all. Then there is only one possibility. Chanchan is lying. Why are you so panicking? I'm getting more and more curious. 6. Early the next morning, I was awakened by the feeling of itching. When I got out of bed, I saw that my hands were covered with erythema, a dense area which was shocking. I am prone to allergies, so my personal belongings have been detoxified. Even before the start of school, my father specially found someone to thoroughly clean and sterilize our dormitory. What on earth did I touch that caused the allergy? I thought about it and shifted my eyes to the bag Tian gave me yesterday. Recalling the pungent smell I smelled yesterday, I was relieved. Finally, the allergen was found. Turned out to be your little fake. I threw the bag into the trash can without hesitation, and carefully wiped the table where the bag was placed with a disinfectant wipe. As soon as I finished these, I felt a chill behind me. I turned around and Tian's untightened bed curtain was in front of me. Tian and others slept late yesterday, and they should still be sleeping now. My hands were getting more and more itchy, so I hurried to the infirmary. I left the garbage bag in the dormitory. At noon, I came back from the infirmary with medicine. I thought of the garbage bag I forgot to take out, and I felt a little uneasy. If Tian finds something abnormal and becomes restrained, I won't have fun watching later. Back in the dormitory, I found that the bag of garbage was missing. Tao was the only one in the dormitory, and I asked her inadvertently, why is the garbage I put on the ground gone? I'm going to throw it away now. Tao's tone is ordinary. Oh, it was Tian who just took it and threw it away for you. Tian never takes the initiative to throw garbage in the dormitory, let alone help others. It's so abnormal this time that she still saw it. However, Tian came back after a while. She couldn't see anything unusual on her face, and she didn't ask me to take the initiative to ask me. 7. After thinking for a while, I made it clear in an instant. I guess she doesn't want to make a big deal about sending fake bags. After all, Tao's baby died in that bag, and she wiped it again and again every day. However, since Tian has seen it, I have nothing to worry about. At worst, this fake money will hate me from now on, and I will see you again. Although I had a premonition that Tian would make trouble, I didn't expect the day to come so quickly. It seems that throwing the bag really made her angry, or in other words, it made her angry. She was so anxious to solve me that she even showed her true face in front of me. That night, as soon as I came back from the library, a message popped up on my mobile phone. I looked at it and it was Wu's mother. I was about to click it, but I looked up and saw Tian coming over. Gigi, have you seen my earrings? She frowned and asked me anxiously. What earrings? I was asked with a confused face. Tao answered me for Tian in a pompous tone. It's the pearl earrings that Tian's father brought back to her from France. She herself has always been reluctant to wear them. She showed it to me yesterday, but it's gone today. I looked down at a pile of brilliant jewelry on Tian's table. I don't know if I don't see it. I was shocked when I saw it. It was all about to be taken from my house. Why can I recognize it at a glance? Because even the rings I customized on my parents' wedding anniversary, and the necklace I designed for myself are among them. I was completely stunned. When was my family hit by bandits? I thought Tian was just an imposter, but I didn't expect that she was a real bandit. I turned my head to look at Tian and was shocked again. What she is wearing now is still my pajamas. I don't know what she stole from me when I didn't know. The more I thought about it, the more I felt sick and got goosebumps. Tian saw that I didn't say a word and stopped me dissatisfiedly. 8. Squeak. We have just adjusted the corridor monitoring, and no outsiders have come to the dormitory at all. Have you seen that pair of earrings? Say something quickly. Tian forced me to ask me, looking like she was about to cry. I just saw these things today, and of course I directly denied them. I haven't seen it. She lowered her head sadly. How could it be? How could it disappear out of thin air? I'm about to look through it. How can I not see it? The more Tian said, the more anxious she became. Finally, she lay on the table and began to collapse and cry. The whole floor of the women's bed was alarmed by her voice, and many people ran to the door of our dormitory to inquire. What's the matter? What happened? Do you want to call the housekeeper? Tao stood beside Tian to comfort her, while explaining the incident to the people outside. This dormitory is so big. Have you looked for it carefully? An enthusiastic girl asked at the door. I've looked for it all. Only Squeak I haven't found anywhere. But Tian said she didn't take it. Tian added another sentence, which made my suspicion heavier. I know in my heart that this is to set me up. The enthusiastic girl offered to check my cabinet for Tian. She was already standing in front of me, so I had to turn sideways. Sure enough, the girl saw the earrings inside as soon as she opened the drawer. She raised her earrings and turned her head to ask Tian. Do you see if it's this pair of earrings, Tian? Right. That's it. Tian burst into tears and laughed, happily taking the earrings from the girl's hand. The girls, including the people at the door, looked at me meaningfully. I'm going to call the housekeeper to deal with it now. Tao was about to rush out of the dormitory in anger. Don't call me the housekeeper. Just find something. Tian rushed up and pulled Tao. I believe that Gigi is just confused for a moment. Let's not embarrass her too much. Tian looked at Tao pitifully, as if she was thinking about me. I ignored Tian and continued to explain to everyone calmly. I still say that. I've never seen her things, let alone taken them. If you really don't believe it, I suggest you call the police now. After saying that, I looked at Chanqian's smug eyes and said, let the police check where this thing came from and how it came into my drawer. Chanqian's eyes became uncertain, and her guilty heart could no longer be obvious. No need. She suddenly clapped her hands and opened her mouth with a sudden realization. Ah, by the way, I remembered it. When I borrowed the squeaky mirror, I sat in her seat and tried on the earrings, and then put them in her drawer. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. I'm sorry to disturb everyone's rest. I made a mistake, but others are still looking at me. Obviously, they don't believe Chanqian's explanation. They feel that she is reading a classmate and doesn't want to embarrass me. I was also in the dormitory last night. Why didn't I see where you went? Why do you say that? Tao Tao dismantled the stage on the spot. The girl who checked my drawer heard this and said angrily, Chanqian, why are you lying for her? Aren't you afraid that she will continue to steal next time? Chanqian wiped her tears silently and waved to them, looking like she was speechless. I really don't want to pursue this matter. Let's just assume that it didn't happen. Let's all break up. After saying that, she pushed the girl out of the door and closed the door of the dormitory with force. I was cut off from the opportunity to continue explaining to others. When the door was about to close, I could still see the girls outside the door looking at me with righteous indignation. Thanks to Chanqian, the image of me stealing people's things casually has been established in the women's bed. 9. I sighed. Where is the lower limit of this kind of person? I really can't imagine it. When I was free, I clicked on Wu's mother's message. In the face of my inquiry, she replied vaguely and awkwardly. The hair accessories were sent for cleaning 2 days ago. Looking at this loopholed sentence, I already have the answer in my heart. There is definitely something wrong with Wu's mother. I suddenly remembered that my mother had mentioned to my father at the dinner table that Wu's daughter failed the college entrance examination and was about to commit suicide in tears. Wu's mother wanted to beg my father to arrange an admission opportunity for her daughter in our school. In fact, it is difficult to go to an ordinary university with her daughter's grades, let alone our school. But because of Wu's mother's feelings, my father finally agreed to her. Thinking of this, I suddenly had a bold guess in my heart. I immediately called my mother for verification. Mom, do you know the name of Wu's daughter? I don't remember much either. Oh, I remember Chanqian. It seems to be called Chanqian. I'm still studying the same major with you. I suddenly opened up. Sure enough, Chanqian is Wu's mother's daughter. Then how she got my things and why she called herself the daughter of the school director can be explained. 10. A few days later, my stealing in the women's bed was posted on the campus forum. But there is another thing that is hotter than this matter, which is the news that Chanqian is the school director. Everyone's eyes were attracted by this Miss Chanjin, and naturally they had no time to estimate my boring theft. Soon, the rumor that Chanqian was a school director spread all the way to my parents. My parents videotaped me and asked me why. I told Chanqian that she was the daughter of the maid Wu's mother, and that she stole a lot of family finances with Wu's mother. My father couldn't rub the sand in his eyes, and he was about to talk to Wu's mother immediately. I hurriedly asked the mother on the other end of the phone to stop him. Dad, don't get excited. Don't interfere in this matter. Leave it to me, okay? Dad looked at me and then at my mother. Finally, he endured and didn't have an attack. And they told them not to expose Chanqian and not to expose my identity. After I beat my parents, the voices of Chanqian and Tao Tao came from the corridor, and I quickly hung up the video. Chanqian, look at the forum. Everyone is calling you Mississippi. It's funny, haha. Here, someone has built a building to pick up your outfit. Tao Tao happily shared with Chanqian. Wow, even the brand name and price have been marked. It's so detailed. Really? Show me. Chanqian let out an unexpected exclamation. But what do you think it makes sense for them to pick these? They can't afford it, ha ha ha. Tao Tao's sour words made me frown. Since the theft incident, her hostility to me has become more and more obvious. As soon as the two entered the dormitory, they took their mobile phones and hugged Chanqian's seat. Chanqian admired the alumni's fancy flattery to her, and she couldn't hide the pride on her face. I also silently opened the campus forum to watch the farce. The most popular post is a photo of Chanqian sitting next to him, and covering her lips and smiling on her birthday. The supporting text of the post is, the plot that I dare not write in the novel. The school director Chanjin Chanqian celebrates the birthday of the school student. At a glance, the comment section is full of people who knock on CP. One of these two people is a school enterprise, and the other is a son of a diplomatic family. It's absolutely perfect. Hold the grass. The beautiful love between the young master and the young lady. I respect it first. I cried. The world is a huge Mary Sue novel. Have you looked at the photo carefully? He just planned to smear cream on the young lady, and the school grass hugged our young lady. It was simply a wife-protecting madman. He loved it so much. Who understands the shyness of the young lady and the pampering in the eyes of the school grass? I'm so high. I'm not blind, am I? I was obviously present at that time. Why do I only see Chanqian rubbing her face against people, and the school grass with an embarrassed face? Just as I was slandering myself secretly, someone suddenly crooked the building. Have you noticed the girl in the lower left corner of the photo? Why do I feel that she looks at Our Lady contemptuously? 11. I enlarged the photo curiously to see who the comment was talking about. Damn, isn't this person me? In the photo my face is as big as a pig's head. It's so vicious. Fortunately, there are fair alumni who replied for me. It seems that the expression is too friendly, but it's normal for the expression to collapse. I don't think so. Also, can you CP fans stop browsing the building? The school forum is full of your spam posts. I couldn't help sighing. After browsing for a long time, I finally saw a normal person. But after a while, the CP fans of Chanchan and the school grass in the comment section were found. The sour smell of jealousy upstairs is about to rush out of the screen. I don't think it's because you are too dull. I don't think this woman looks good. As soon as I finished reading the comment above, Tao Tao suddenly burst into laughter, breaking the moment's silence. You don't have a good face, ha 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 ha. Tao Tao smiled back and forth, which was extremely exaggerated, as if he was deliberately trying to anger me. Chanchan sat on the chair and couldn't stop laughing with her mouth covered, and her eyes peeked at me from time to time. I walked to the two of them and slapped Tao Tao on the back fiercely. Bang! I was worried that I was not strong enough, so I tried my best. What? You're going to hang up? Are you so happy? Tao Tao's height and number are surprisingly poor. I deliberately provoked her. Cough cough cough. She was so scared that she was stuck in her saliva. You. Cough cough cough, you cough cough cough. You know, I think the three of you are suitable for acting. After saying that, I paused on special. Chanchan thought I was going to flatter her, and looked at me expectantly with her eyelashes. I just saw a performance called The Villain Daji. Chanchan's little face suddenly turned pale and looked at me gloomily. I turned my eyes to Tao Tao, who coughed earth-shatteringly, and gently patted her on the shoulder. It's just that your acting skills are a little flamboyant. You have to learn more from teacher Chanchan, and delve into her acting skills. You. Cough 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 cough. Tao Tao's face turned purple with anger, and she was so anxious that she couldn't speak. I returned to my seat as if nothing had happened. Okay, we won't argue with her. Chanchan said gently, but her eyes looked at me as if she had been poisoned, as if she wanted to brew a bigger storm. 12. Early that morning, I was awakened by the chirping of two people in the dormitory. I opened the bed curtain with a thud, and only saw the two of them gathered by the window sill, chatting in a good way. Noticing my movement, the two people who were just laughing were dumbfounded in an instant and returned to their respective positions in a strange voice. I saw the mobile phone with the screen on in their hands and guessed that they were browsing yesterday's posts. I don't have any interest in the unnutritious speech on the internet, let alone the desire to eavesdrop on their laughter. I ignored the eyes behind me, calmly finished washing, and then picked up my school bag and went to the library. In the evening, on my way back to the bedroom, passers-by always looked at me with different expressions. After I grabbed the bag with my eyes, these people quickly looked away and left my sight in a hurry. Looking at the strangely behaved passers-by, I remembered the abnormalities of Chanchan and others in the morning. I noticed that the public opinion on the internet may have fermented, and may even have far exceeded my expectations. So he hurriedly clicked on the campus forum. As expected, the public opinion had completely exploded at this time. What caught my eye was a large number of posts on the homepage. I clicked on one casually. Hello everyone. I'm Gigi. I have been killed on XX month XX year. Alumni, please remember me. Candle. Top, slapping weird roommate 39103, with a pack of condoms, be careful of the old man's seed. Top, with a mouthful of phlegm. The poster, please code the ghost picture thank you. I know every word in the post, and I'm confused when they are connected. But I probably know that I must have been made up by someone. I was in a heavy mood and continued to click on a few posts. This squeak is so disgusting. That man can be her grandfather. Won't he have nightmares? No wonder I talked to her in the canteen last time. She looked tall. It turned out that she was taken care of by the old man. Thumbit. Did you watch the video? It's so hot. I'm watching it. It's really coquettish. Ha ha ha. Seek resources upstairs paid. I haven't suffered any blows since I was a child, not to mention this kind of unbearable abuse. In the face of these overwhelming insults, even if my mentality has always been stable, I can't control my emotions at this moment. My chest fluctuated violently, and I tried my best to suppress my inner anger to find the hottest post. Point 13. The title suddenly says, a freshman female student in the Department of Finance is squeaky evidence of being taken care of. I clicked on the so-called evidence with a little trembling. Inside is actually a photo of me in a luxury car. There are also a bunch of pictures that I don't know if they were cut from that third-level film, and the woman in it is actually my face. I slid to the comment section numbly. Netizens' comments on the net name Chanchan. Squeak often doesn't go home at night and teaches her repeatedly. We are all used to it, and the lodger can't do anything about her. Chanchan actually began to spread rumors openly. I was so angry that I laughed out loud. My theft was also found out. By the way, we all saw that she was caught stealing a young lady's things last time, but she still refuses to admit it. She is arrogant to be taken care of. I testify that I was also present at that time. The young lady spoke for her at that time. Let's go to the point. Our lady is really beautiful and kind-hearted. I stared at the words beautiful and kind-hearted on the screen, and I only felt nauseous. At this moment, a post has been put from the bottom of the forum to the first place under my eyes. Real name request to be expelled from the school. 3888/100000. The building is clear, and it is the real name request of major students from various colleges. Squeaky moral corruption seriously brings bad academic style. If you continue to keep such students, you will ruin the reputation of the school. Chu Mengting, Class 2 Chinese Language and Literature, asked the school to be expelled. Level 23 Engineering Management Li Xian requests the school to fire Zhiqi. Level 21 Supply Chain Management Tao Tao asks the school to be expelled. Level 22 Clinical Medicine Wang Qing requests the school to expel Zhiji. The post is still being replied to continuously. Sliding the endless list, the strange and familiar names in front of me gradually made my eyes lose focus. The mobile phone in his hand suddenly slipped to the ground. I picked it up with one hand, and I looked at the person blankly. He is a strange classmate. When the girl saw my face, her expression suddenly changed, threw her mobile phone into my arms and left in a hurry. I held my mobile phone and leaned on the bench by the roadside. I never care what Qian or Tao Tao, who are prejudiced and malicious to me, think of me or abuse me. But I don't want those who have released goodwill to me to be disappointed in me because of this misunderstanding. These people may have been in the same classroom with me yesterday, may have talked to me on the forum yesterday, and may have just helped me pick up the mobile phone that fell on the ground. But now they are also sincerely willing to take the risk of identity information leakage to expel me. But as long as 1% of them still care about the truth, I can't continue to blind them. I will never let go of the initiator this time. Qian's face appeared in front of my eyes. I clenched my palm. 14. After calming down for a while, I immediately began to collect evidence of Qian's rumors. I immediately called someone to locate the publisher's IP. Half an hour later, the other party sent me a message. The poster is using the computer in our school's computer room. Everyone can use the computer room, but fortunately there is monitoring which can be sorted out according to the posting time. I found the monitoring room in the computer room and asked the security guard to retrieve the monitoring. School monitoring is not allowed to be retrieved at will under non-special circumstances. This is a regulation. I beg you, uncle, I really lost something very important in the computer room. Please be Molin. I begged for mercy pitifully. No, you should first go to your counselor to explain the situation and ask him to approve a note for you. Otherwise I can't adjust the monitoring casually. Seeing that I was about to be kicked, I took a deep breath, opened my wallet and took out all the cash inside. Uncle, do you think this is okay? Looking at the red banknote in my hand, he stared wide-eyed. What are you doing? Do you still look like a student? 1 second he was patting the table and scolding me loudly, but the next second he quietly opened his pocket. I quickly stuffed the money in. The surveillance video was successfully retrieved, and Qian's post was finally completely completed. Fake identity guide network violence. I'm going to tell her all these scandals at once. 15. In the middle of the night, I lay on the bed in the dormitory and created a small account, imitating Qian's pompous style and released a breaking news post. The latest news. Zhiji was interviewed by the school, and will arrive at school tomorrow morning. It is suspected that he is negotiating to withdraw from school. As soon as the news of the breaking news came out, the comment section exploded. Who is the poster? He is so well-int. It can't be the teacher of the academic affairs office. Is the teacher so gossipy? Ha ha ha. I feel that the post can't be saved for long. I have saved the screenshot. Do you think the old man who took care of her will come to support her tomorrow? If we have time tomorrow, let's go to the scene to put pressure on the school's little one. If we don't succeed in getting her out of school this time, we will be busy in vain. Seeing that the number of replies was gradually increasing, I raised the corners of my lips. In this way there will be an audience to watch the play tomorrow. After finishing this, I turned off my mobile phone, closed my eyes, and began to look forward to tomorrow's drama. In the morning I heard the sound of Qian and Tao Tao leaving the dormitory closing the door. It seems that they are not in a hurry. After Qian and the others left, I also left the dormitory with a hat and mask. When I arrived, many students had gathered under the office building. I scanned the crowd for a long time, and I saw Qian and Tao Tao standing with the school grass. I was relieved to see Qian on the scene, otherwise the scene would not be good. I haven't seen the person concerned for a long time, and the students have begun to make some commotion. Someone spoke anxiously. Where did you see anyone after waiting for so long? The leaker is not talking nonsense, is he? It doesn't make sense. It's not good for him to spread rumors. Wait a little longer. Isn't there still half an hour until noon? 16. I looked at the restless crowd in front of me and looked down at my watch. It's almost time. I silently walked to the woods beside the square, and then dialed the phone. I pretended to be in a hurry and spoke to the other end of the phone. Hello? Wu's mother, I'm Zhiji. Come to school quickly. Qian has an accident. The situation is very complicated. It's not clear on the phone. You'd better come here as soon as possible. By the way, we are now in the square in front of the school office building. Before I finished speaking, the other end of the phone hung up in a hurry. I put down my mobile phone and felt a little complicated. Mother Wu's family has been a servant for more than 10 years, almost witnessing me growing up. People miss the old love. She was so anxious that she cried on the phone just now. My heart was a little complicated. But the next moment in my mind, it was the lawyer's long list of stolen finances. It was the scene of Chan pulling Tao to slander me. It was the unsightly insults in the forum. My eyes became firm in an instant. At this moment, Wu Ma's familiar voice appeared in the distance. I immediately took off my hat and mask, threw it into the trash can, avoided the crowd's sight, and trotted all the way to her. As soon as Wu's mother saw me, she pulled me anxiously to ask about Chan's situation. I held her and walked towards the crowd in the square without saying a word. Miss, you're here to say something. I'm so anxious. Oh, how can I live if Chan has 3 strengths and 2 weaknesses? I can't open my mouth. As soon as I open my mouth, it will be exposed. I had no choice but to answer in my heart. Oh my God, how can I live? The more Wu's mother said, the more excited she became, and she broke down and cried. I quickly patted her on the back to comfort her. Mom Wu, don't worry. Chan is fine. She gradually stopped crying, and we were getting closer and closer to the crowd at this moment. I can even vaguely hear their conversation. Here we go, people are coming. It's Squeak and her mother. She is still supporting his mother. It doesn't look so bad. I heard Tao fight back coldly. In front of so many people, dogs can pretend. Her mother is so pitiful. It seems that she is still crying. I guess I'm really going to be fired this time. Chan looked at me, and a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Well, isn't it a bit too much for us to force the school to expel her? Actually, I also feel a little. Chan's eyes turned red when she heard the words. She turned around and asked the crowd, have you all forgotten how she stole my things and how she did those disgusting things? If this kind of person can be forgiven, then what's the grievance I have suffered? The more Chan said, the more excited she became. If Gigi hadn't been fired today, I would have jumped off the rooftop of this building. Chan sobbed and was about to run to the office building, but was stopped by the school grass and carried back. Wu's mother beside me heard Chan's voice, and her face changed slightly, as if she had noticed something unusual. I held Wu's mother's hand tightly. Don't want to slip away when you get here. 17. The people around me consciously opened a passage for me and Wu's mother. I smiled and enjoyed Chan's enchanting performance. Chan cried to her classmates about my evil deeds, and looked at me with resentful eyes. Then Chan finally saw Wu's mother beside me. Her face suddenly turned bloodless. I took Wu Ma through the crowd and walked straight to Chan. I looked at Chan's broken expression without saying a word. The people around also held their breath and watched in silence or secretly recorded the scene with their mobile phones. Wu's mother took the lead in breaking the silence. Chan, tell Mom what's going on. As soon as she said something, everyone was in an uproar. Isn't Chan the school director Chanjin? Isn't this person a squeaky mother? What's the situation? What is it? My CPU has been burned dry. This person won't squeak for an actor who wants to rob Our Lady. Facing the people around her looking and discussing, Wu's mother twisted the corners of her clothes and looked very cramped. Suddenly, Tao's sharp voice cut through the noise. Aunt, you must be mistaken. Chan is the daughter of the school director, and her mother is a pianist. Tao raised his eyebrows and looked up and down at Wu's mother, and then sneered disdainfully. You look like this, at best you are a cotton-balling person. Don't blindly identify your relatives. Chan's face stiffened and she couldn't smile at all. Wu's mother's face turned red and she looked at Chan incredibly. If you don't get out, I'll call the security guard. Tao is still unforgiving. My anger has been completely aroused by Tao. I didn't wait for Chan to open her mouth. I pointed to Tao's nose and cursed. Enough. Why are you so cheap? The roaring dog is not as good as you. If I remember correctly, it seems that you are also an ordinary working-class family. Why do you use so vicious words to criticize a working woman? When you say these words, don't you think of your parents picking cotton in the sun? Tao's parents grow cotton. I really didn't expect that she would insult people with the words, bouncing cotton. Ah, shut up. Shut up. Tao jumped up and down trying to suppress me with momentum. The camera of the mobile phone turned from me and Wu's mother to Tao, who was speechless. Don't shoot me, don't shoot. After Tao stretched out her hand to block herself in vain, she ran out of the crowd in a hurry. I ignored Tao who ran away, and continued to force Chan to speak. Chan, it's this time. Are you still going to keep your mouth open? I stared straight at Chan, watching her lips open and close, and finally spit out a word after holding back for a long time. Mom. 18. Wu's mother immediately broke away from my hand and ran to hug Chan. Don't be afraid, my son, tell your mother what happened, ah? Are these classmates bullying you? Chan looked at Wu's mother with both eyes and couldn't say a word. The crowd suddenly exploded. Shit. What did I hear? What's the situation? This is Chan's mother. Aren't Jiqi and Qianqian two sisters? I rolled my eyes silently, and was shocked by this man's speech. It's time to clarify, otherwise these people will only make up for it more outrageous. Everyone be quiet. I'm Gigi. I planned this game today. My purpose is to clarify the criticism about me these days. At this time someone whispered, "It seems that there is a reversal." I paused and continued, "And expose the true face of the school director Qinjin in front of you." When Wu's mother heard the words, her pupils widened in an instant, and she looked down at her daughter in her arms incredulously. Qianqian shrank her head and avoided the eyes of the people around her with a guilty heart. I glanced at them and continued to speak, noting Wu's mother's pleading eyes. This lady is Qianqian's mother. Qianqian is not a school director at all. Qianqian is still stubbornly refuting me. What nonsense are you talking about? I said with a slight smile. Because I am the daughter of the school director. Qianqian was stunned in an instant. The luxury car in the photo circulating on the forum is my family's, and the unsightly video was made by Qianqian's face change with AI. The crowd broke out a heated discussion again. My God, why do you catch horses like this? This is a porn rumor, isn't it? That's too much. This Qianqian is so bold that she dares to pretend to be someone in the same school as Zhengqianjin. Hearing this, Qianqian's eyes were red and she gritted her teeth and asked me, "What evidence do you think about these?" "Just because of your dry words." I glanced at her calmly. I also learned to rush the answer. The evidence has been posted on the forum. If you are interested, you can open your mobile phone for verification now. People around discussed it again. At this time Wu's mother, who had been silent, gave Qianqian a look, and then grabbed her and walked to me. "Miss, I apologize to you for not educating my daughter well." Wu's mother slid up and bowed to me. "I'm sorry. Come to Qianqian." The next second Wu's mother pulled Qianqian, and both of them knelt in front of me. 19. I looked at the two people in front of me incredulously and felt puzzled. Then Wu's mother began to kowtow to me to death. She not only tumbled herself, but also grabbed Qianqian's hair with the other hand and smashed her head to the ground. Qianqian screamed bitterly in my ear. Help! Mom! As if she didn't hear it, Wu's mother continued to kowtow to me and apologize with an expressionless face. "Miss, I'm sorry, please raise your hand to spare our mother and daughter." "Miss, I'm sorry, please raise your hand to spare our mother and daughter." "Miss, I'm sorry, please raise your hand to spare our mother and daughter." During this period I tried to pull Wu's mother up, but not only failed, but was also retreated far away by Wu's mother. I looked at the mother and daughter who seemed to be demonized in front of me, and saw the crowd around me who were busy taking pictures with their mobile phones, and suddenly became angry. "Why are you in a daze? Pull them up." The mother and daughter were pulled up with blood on their faces. At this moment the square seemed to be the scene of the murder. Wu's mother took my hand, her eyes were empty, and she was still talking with anger. "Miss, please forgive our mother and daughter." Countless eyes and cameras around me were still staring at me. I had no choice but to nod repeatedly. When Wu's mother heard this, she turned her sadness into joy, while Qianqian beside her lowered her head and was silent like a walking dead. "Qianqian." As soon as Wu's mother finished speaking, Qianqian suddenly screamed like crazy and rushed all the way to the office building. 20. Stop her quickly. Qianqian is going to jump off the building. An exclamation exploded in the crowd, and everyone followed Qianqian into the office building. On the rooftop, security guards, teachers and students gathered together. It took me a long time to get a footing point. As soon as I looked up at Qianqian standing on the wall, she began to cry hoarsely. "Squeak." I admit that I was too vain to pretend to be your identity. I was confused for a moment. The wound on Qianqian's head is still bleeding down. I do things by myself. At worst, I will be a cow and a horse in my next life to thank you. Qianqian wiped the blood and tears on her cheeks with her sleeve and smiled as if she was strong. "But why do you still take my mother with you? Force our mother and daughter to kneel down and kowtow to you in public." Qianqian's words suddenly turned and pointed the finger at me. "Wait, you." Just as I was about to open my mouth to fight back, the guide stopped me. "Squeak. Don't provoke her. Human life is important." I looked at the guide who was scared and nervous by Qianqian, and swallowed the words into my stomach again. Qianqian covered her chest, as if she was helpless. "My mother. She has a very serious heart attack and only had an operation last year. How can she bear these blows?" As soon as she spoke, I saw Wu's mother tilting her head and moaning in pain. The people around sobbed. Alas, in fact, Qianqian is also quite miserable. If there is such a fuss today, Qianqian's mother must have lost her job, and Qianqian will probably find it difficult to hang out in school. Sure enough, children who can cry have candy to eat. I looked at Wu's mother and sneered. My servants take them for a full body examination every year. If they have physical problems, they will immediately give a large sum of money and dismiss them. If Wu's mother really has a serious heart problem, my family can't stay with her until today. To put it bluntly, they did this to take advantage of public opinion to help me stop pursuing their mother and daughter. And by the way, they want to be a few more money. I only blame myself for not solving the poisonous snake mother and daughter earlier, and let them bite their hands. If Gigi's family is so rich, he should help Chan and others. It's right to pay for help. To put it bluntly, isn't it still squeaky for Chan to jump off the building? Public opinion began to favor Chan more and more. This time I have to turn the situation around. I took a deep breath and softened my tone. Chan, you love your mother so much. How can you bear to abandon her? I know you have a grudge in your heart. It doesn't matter. You can vent your anger on me. I looked into her eyes and seduced her to reveal her greedy desire. If you have any requirements, feel free to tell me. I can satisfy you all. But you can think about it. There is only one life. If you die, you will really have nothing. Chan looked at me and then at Wu's mother, and her eyes flashed. My mother owes more than 800,000 yuan for surgery, and my father also owes millions of gambling debts outside. 21. Seeing that my expression didn't change, Chan continued to say anxiously, I can't stay in this city any longer. I want to study in the United States and I also want to. As soon as Chan's explosive request came out, even the fool could see that she wanted to hit me hard. A male voice came from nowhere on the rooftop. Sister, you obviously want to extort money. Public opinion instantly turned into a voice against Chan's family. Seeing that no one around her stood up to speak for her, Chan looked at Wu's mother helplessly. The next second, she broke down and roared as if she was being incited by something. What's the point of my life? Chan stretched out her legs tremblingly and was about to jump down. The security guard beside her reacted quickly and pulled Chan down from the wall when she was about to jump. Chan twisted her body and wanted to climb to the wall. Calm down. The security guard firmly controlled her on the ground. I walked to Chan and looked at her condescendingly. Chan looked up at me, her eyes full of unwillingness and resentment. Take a look. I took out a pack of printed materials from my bag and threw them in front of her. The students who had been taking pictures with their mobile phones in the crowd also reacted quickly and aimed the camera at the material. These are the lists of my belongings that Chan and Wu's mother have stolen over the years. Chan saw clearly that it was printed on the paper after something. He screamed and stuffed all the materials scattered on the ground into his arms, not wanting others to see a little. These papers are the financial lists that your mother has stolen from my house over the years, which has far exceeded the criteria for filing a case. I looked down at Chan, who was wearing a cloak on the ground and dodging her eyes. These are the capitals you have been fake for so many days. Chan suddenly said coldly and looked at me with scarlet eyes. You're just a good tire. Why are you so arrogant to me? I laughed. She finally stopped maintaining her weak and innocent personality. Wu's mother immediately struggled when she heard this. He ran over and hugged my leg. Miss, we also have no way to do such a stupid thing. You are not short of 1 or 2 million. Please spare us. The siren of the police car became clearer and clearer, and soon the police arrived at the scene. Chan and Wu's mother were taken away by the police. See you at the police station. I spoke to them lightly. A few weeks later, the school returned to its former tranquility. It's just that since that day, no one has seen Chan on campus, and no one has seen me. Chan and Wu's mother are waiting for the sanctions of the law, and I transferred to another university. Before I was about to leave, the guide told me that the people who had previously abused me on the forum had been disposed of. The campus forum has also been permanently closed. The full text is finished.